Have you ever noticed how the people you want the most are never the ones queuing up to impress you, but the ones who seem just a little out of reach, just a little scarce in your mental world? The person who does not write instantly, who has their own life, who feels like a rare frequency instead of background noise. That is not an accident. That is the mental scarcity game working on you. And right now, you are going to learn how to flip that dynamic and become the one who lives in her mind, without chasing, without begging, without turning yourself into a clown for a bit of attention, but by using psychology, discipline, and presence. Before we go deep, I want you to grab a simple idea and keep it in your mind throughout this entire video. Attraction is not built in her phone, it is built in her mind. Most men think seduction is about saying the perfect lines, using tricks, texting non-stop, sending memes, reacting to everything she posts. What they are really doing is flooding the interaction with their presence in a cheap way. They are everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And the brain does something simple with anything that is too available, too familiar, too predictable. It stops valuing it. Scarcity is not just about time or attention. It is about how your presence is perceived by her nervous system. The more you understand that, the more you stop playing the game of quantity and start playing the game of mental quality. Let's start by destroying the weakest strategy most men use without even realizing it: overexposure. When you constantly write, constantly ask, constantly check in, you think you are building connection. From your side, it feels like effort, interest, even courage. But from her side, it often feels like pressure, noise, and neediness. Books like Influence by Robert Cialdini explican algo muy claro: lo que es escaso se percibe como valioso, y lo que está en exceso se percibe como barato. When you pour your energy into someone without calibration, you are volunteering to become mentally cheap. You are making it easy for her brain to place you in the always there, always available, I will answer later category. The mental scarcity game begins when you deliberately step out of that category and you become a rare presence, a selective presence, a man who does not give his energy in bulk. The first layer of the mental scarcity game is internal, not external. Before you try to appear scarce in her mind, you need to be scarce in your own. That means your attention cannot revolve around one woman, one chat, one outcome. When your entire day is secretly structured around whether she wrote to you or not, you are already in a position of mental dependence. Your nervous system is wired to react, not to choose, and she will feel that. Even if you do not say it, your messages, your timing, your tone will communicate that her validation has become the center of your emotional universe. Scarcity begins when you shift your center of gravity. Your purpose, your routine, your self-respect, and your standards come first. She is not the story. She is a possible character in the story of your life. That mental frame alone changes how you react, how fast you answer, how you speak, how you walk, how you breathe when you are around her. So ask yourself this, honestly: who is scarce in your mind right now, you or her? Do you spend more time imagining her, checking if she is online, rereading conversations, than you do building your body, your income, your craft, your future? If the answer is yes, the game is already lost before it begins. A man who is not engaged with his own path cannot genuinely project scarcity. He can only fake it. He pretends to be busy, but he is actually just waiting in silence. He pretends to be independent, but every vibration of his energy says, I am available anytime. The mental scarcity game is not about pretending you have a life. It is about actually having one, and letting that reality shape your behavior. Once that inner foundation is clear, we move to the second layer: controlled access. Think of your attention like an exclusive club with a strictly limited capacity. Not everyone gets in, and the ones who get in do not get unlimited time. When you talk to her, when you are with her, you are fully present, grounded, masculine, attentive. But when it is time to step away, you step away completely. No constant checking, no breadcrumb messages just because you are bored, no overcompensating with emojis and reactions because you are scared. The silence will make her forget you. The silence is not your enemy, it is your ally. It is in the spaces, in the gaps, that her mind has the chance to think about you. If you flood those gaps with non-stop access to you, her mind never has space to miss you. And this is key. Scarcity is not about cutting off communication and playing cold for no reason. That is childish and often backfires. Scarcity is about strategic contrast, presence and absence, warmth and distance, availability and mystery. When you are there, you are fully there. When you are not, you are gone, not half present. Many men make the mistake of trying to weaken the silence, so they send little neutral messages, meaningless content, hoping to keep the connection alive. What they do is kill the tension. they erase the contrast. The brain gets used to the constant stream, and the emotional intensity drops. The mental scarcity game requires that you are comfortable with her not hearing from you for hours or even days, not as punishment, but because you have other things that matter, and because you know attraction does not need constant maintenance to survive. It needs the right experiences and the right tension. Now let's talk about emotional diet. What do you feed her mind with when she does get access to you? Scarcity is not only about the amount of interaction, but about the density of value inside each interaction. If every time she talks to you the conversation is dry, predictable, full of cliches, you can be scarce all you want, it will not matter. You will just be a boring ghost. The mental scarcity game is powerful when every moment with you feels different from her usual experiences. Most men either try too hard to impress, or they play it too safe. You want to be that grounded presence that challenges her gently, teases her intelligently, listens deeply, and communicates honesty. A man who is not afraid to disagree, to say no, to hold a different opinion. That kind of presence is rare. It naturally becomes scarce because there are not many like that. So instead of asking yourself, how can I be more mysterious? Ask a better question. How can I be more real and more selective? Real in the sense that you do not hide your standards, your opinions, your direction in life. Selective in the sense that you do not give that level of presence to everyone. When you talk to her, do not collapse your identity to whatever you think she wants to hear. That is mental neediness. You are trying to buy her approval by erasing yourself. A man who knows his value does the opposite. He reveals his mind slowly, not all at once. He does not overshare his entire life story in one conversation. He lets things unfold. He holds certain details back and lets curiosity do its work. That is mental scarcity, not lying, not pretending, but pacing your self-disclosure. This is where many men fail. They think that by telling everything, explaining everything, and opening every emotional door immediately, they will create intimacy. Psychology shows something different. Intimacy is not created by dumping information. It is created by progressive revelation. Step by step, layer by layer, you create a sense of journey. The mental scarcity game uses this by making sure she never feels like she has completely figured you out in 1 week. Each time she interacts with you, she discovers something new, a different side of your humor, a deeper layer of your values, a new ambition, an unexpected skill. You do not announce all of this. You let it show over time. That is how you become a mental puzzle. She enjoys revisiting. Now we need to speak about boundaries, because without them there is no real scarcity. Boundaries are the invisible lines that tell her and the world how your time, your energy, your body, and your emotions can be treated. Men who lack clear boundaries always end up over-investing. They answer at any hour, cancel their plans, tolerate disrespect, laugh at jokes against them just to stay liked. They are scared of walking away, scared of displeasing, scared of losing the little attention they have. The mental scarcity game demands the opposite. You must be willing to lose her temporarily to win your self-respect permanently. That internal posture changes everything. It does not mean you act cold or rude. It means you do not trade your dignity for attention. So when she takes hours or days to respond and then pops up like nothing happened, you do not jump on your phone and reply in seconds as if you were just waiting there. You take your time. You respond from a calm place, with no emotional complaint, no drama, but also no desperation. When she crosses a line, you do not attack, but you do call it out calmly, or you distance yourself. You do not accept a dynamic where you are always trying to prove your worth. Your willingness to walk away is one of the strongest sources of scarcity. A man who will never walk away can be manipulated. A man who can walk away at any moment becomes mentally scarce by default, because his presence is never guaranteed. Another key piece of the mental scarcity game is unpredictability within integrity. Listen carefully. You do not want to be chaotic or inconsistent in your values. That destroys trust. Your integrity should be predictable. You say what you mean, you do what you say, you keep your word. But your expressions, the way you show up, the timing, the experiences you create, those should not be robotic. If every conversation follows the same pattern, at the same time, with the same topics, her brain will process you as routine. And what does the brain do with routines? It automates them and stops paying deep attention. So you keep your integrity stable, but you play with variety. Sometimes your interaction is playful, sometimes it is deep, sometimes it is short and powerful, sometimes longer and more intimate. Sometimes you are available in the evening, sometimes you are simply busy and you get back to her later. There is rhythm, not monotony. Social proof matters as well in this game, but you need to understand it correctly. Social proof in psychological terms is the human tendency to look at what others value as a reference for what is valuable. This does not mean you flaunt friends or people around you to make her jealous in an immature way. It means your life naturally reflects connection, respect, and relevance. You are not isolated. You are not a man who desperately clings to one woman because you have no other meaningful relationships. You have your circle, your mission, your projects, your hobbies. Your time is naturally limited because you are actually living. This makes your attention automatically scarce. You do not have to fake being busy. You are busy with a life you are building. Now let's leave theory for a moment and move into application. How does the mental scarcity game look in your actual behavior from today onwards? First, you clean your digital posture. That means you stop replying impulsively to every notification. You set specific times when you check your messages. You stop sending double or triple texts when she does not reply quickly. You stop using your phone as a way to regulate your anxiety about her response. Every time you are tempted to write something just to feel closer, you pause and ask yourself, is this message adding tension and value, or is it just relieving my insecurity? If it is just insecurity, you do not send it. You breathe, return to your priorities, and let the silence work for you. Second, you refine how you talk. When she writes to you, you do not answer with one-word replies, but you also do not pour your entire emotional world into the chat. You keep things light, authentic, and a bit challenging. If she tries to test you, to see if you get jealous easily or if you are easily shaken, you remain centered. You do not fall into emotional traps. You are playful when she expects you to be jealous, detached when she expects you to be desperate, honest when she expects you to act. That kind of grounded unpredictability stimulates her curiosity. She realizes she cannot control you emotionally. She also cannot fully predict your reactions. That is mental scarcity. She cannot put you in a simple box. Third, you adjust the speed of escalation. Many men rush to maximum intensity right away. They send long romantic messages, heavy emotional declarations, constant compliments. They try to compress what should be a dance into a sprint. The result is that the emotional peak arrives too fast and dies too fast. The mental scarcity game slows things down. You calibrate. You increase intimacy gradually. You stay present in the moment instead of always pushing for the next step. You give her space to wonder where this is going. Instead of telling her everything up front, you allow feelings to ferment, not just explode. You become a man she can slowly imagine in her life, not just a momentary thrill. Fourth, you protect your self-talk. The most dangerous enemy of your mental scarcity is not her behavior, it is your own internal narrative. If every time she delays a response, you tell yourself, I am not enough, she found someone better, I messed up, you fall into emotional scarcity. You start thinking she is rare, and you are replaceable. That belief leaks into your body language, voice, and micro-decisions. So you actively correct that story. You remind yourself that you are a man in progress, that you bring value, that one woman's mood does not define your worth. You do not place her on a sacred pedestal while you shrink yourself. You bring your mind back to your path and your growth. The mental scarcity game also involves how you use your presence in person. When you are with her, you want to embody a rare combination of qualities: calm and intensity, focus and relaxation, confidence without arrogance. You are not trying to perform. You are not desperate to fill every silence. In fact, you let silence exist. You can look at her calmly, smile, take your time. The man who cannot tolerate silence ends up over-talking and oversharing, and that kills the sense of mystery. You are comfortable in your own skin. You do not fidget. You do not constantly check your phone. You do not scan the room for validation. Your attention is selective. You are with her because you choose to be, not because you need to be. Another element you must integrate is standards for behavior. Scarcity does not only apply to your time, it applies to your emotional availability. You do not give emotional intimacy to someone who is inconsistent, disrespectful, or manipulative. If the interaction starts to become toxic, you detach. Not with drama, not with revenge, but with clarity. You are not addicted to chaos. Many men fall into relationships where drama is constant, and they confuse that with passion. The mental scarcity game is incompatible with emotional addiction. You are not trying to make her obsessed with you to the point of suffering. You are creating attraction between two adults. There is a difference. Seduction without ethics becomes self-sabotage in the long term. You may be wondering now, how do I know if the mental scarcity game is working? You will not always see direct signs, because a lot of it happens in her internal world, but you will notice subtle shifts. She begins to initiate more. She asks more personal questions. She tests your availability. She gets curious about your plans, your day, your life. She might playfully complain that you are hard to read, or that you seem to disappear into your world. She may increase her investment, longer messages, more eye contact, small efforts to get your attention. Your job is not to react with arrogance, but to stay grounded. When you see her investing more, you do not suddenly flip and become overly available. You maintain your rhythm, you respond with warmth, but you do not collapse your boundaries. Remember something important: scarcity without substance is just emptiness. You cannot base your entire strategy on being silent, distant, or unavailable. That is not attractive. It is confusing or even disrespectful. The mental scarcity game is powerful only when combined with strong masculine qualities: purpose, integrity, emotional control, presence, humor, empathy, courage. The mental scarcity magnifies those qualities in her mind because she does not experience them all the time. When she thinks about men, she probably thinks of those who chase too much or those who do not care at all. Very few men occupy that middle space: deeply interested but not dependent, expressive but not needy, available but not at the expense of their mission. So this is the invitation. Instead of asking, "How can I make her obsessed with me?" start asking, "How can I raise my standards to the point where my presence is naturally scarce and valuable?" The moment you really commit to your growth, your time becomes more expensive. You cannot afford to waste hours scrolling through her social media, decoding every like, constructing fantasies around every message. You realize your life is bigger than that. You show up as a man who is building something, and if she wants to be part of that journey, she must match your energy and your respect. You are not auditioning for her approval. You are seeing whether she fits in your reality. Practical step: choose 3 areas of your life where you will invest more energy starting now. It could be your physical strength, your finances, your skills, your spiritual depth, your social circle. As you commit to those areas, your attention naturally shifts. When she writes to you and you are busy with your workout, your project, or your mission, you will not be tempted to drop everything instantly. You will finish what you are doing, then respond. That simple act communicates volumes about your priorities without you saying a single philosophical word. You are not trying to prove that you are busy, you simply are. In parallel, decide on 2 or 3 personal boundaries you will no longer break. For example, you do not send long emotional messages late at night when you are feeling lonely. You do not chase someone who repeatedly ignores you. You do not beg for closure. You do not stay in conversations that are consistently one-sided. Every time you protect those boundaries, you reinforce the belief that your presence is valuable. And that belief radiates outwards, quietly shaping the way people perceive you. As you play the mental scarcity game, something else will happen. You will start noticing who actually values you, and who only values the attention you give. The ones who were never truly interested will naturally drift away when you stop feeding them constant energy. Let them go. Do not interpret that as failure. It is filtration. It is the system doing what it is supposed to do. Your scarcity filters out those who are only there for ego strokes. Those who stay, those who step closer, those who match your effort. Those are the ones who can handle your true presence. Finally, understand that this is not a temporary trick. It is a shift in identity. You are not playing a character for a month and then going back to your old patterns. You are becoming a man for whom mental scarcity is natural, because he lives a life that demands his focus and discipline. A man who does not outsource his sense of worth to any woman. A man who can enjoy emotional connection deeply, but does not drown in it. A man who seduces not by chasing, but by being undeniably anchored in who he is. From this moment on, every time you feel the urge to chase, to over-explain, to over-invest, remember this: your value is not in how much you give without calibration. Your value is in how consciously you give what is rare, powerful, and real. If you become that rare presence, the mental scarcity game will not be something you use. It will be something you are. And when you are that man, you do not beg to be chosen. You allow yourself to be discovered, slowly, deeply, by the ones who are truly ready for your energy.